Slammy, ego, slammy, ego, slammy, ego, slammy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. You should know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome, episode 623 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden with you here, August 8th, 2024, and the Padres are rolling. Just swept the Pittsburgh Pirates at PNC Park. There was the long rain delay in Game 1. Dylan Cease goes an inning. Padres still end up winning that game. Game 2, long game. Some mistakes on both sides. Padres still end up winning that game. And then today, Game 3 of the series, they find a way. A couple of homers, big homers, ended up being big homers. And they got some help from the Pirates as well. And I'm going to take every freaking win the Padres can get. Not going to complain. And yeah, Padres, they are in a good spot. Is the division in sight? Like, is that an actually realistic thing that the Padres can go get this year? 2.5 games back as we sit right now. Padres 64-52, the Dodgers 66-49. Padres have won 5 games in a row. The Dodgers have lost 2 games in a row. Padres 8-2 in their last 10. The Dodgers 4-6 in their last 10. D-backs, they're playing really good baseball as well. Run differential is around the same as the Padres. So really it's a 3-team race, Dodgers, Padres, and D-backs. And yeah, I said that I needed the gap to get closer between the Padres and the Dodgers, and it's gotten closer. And so yeah, it is doable. It is doable for the Padres to go win this division. We'll see if it happens. And again, I will, even if they win the division, I'll be happy. Like, hey, they beat the Dodgers. Dodgers fans can't tout that anymore, at least for this season. But what I care about the most is going deep in the postseason. If they win the division and then they don't do anything in the postseason, it's not going to do a whole lot for me. You know, it'll be like, okay, cool, they won the division, but what did they do after that? So for me, really, I care about making the postseason. It'll be cool to put, NL West champs on the Western Metal building like they did the last time they won when I was like 3 years old. So, it'd be one of those, it would be cool, but what's cooler is, getting to the World Series, winning the whole thing. So really, for me, my mindset doesn't really change with how the Padres are playing. It's just further like making myself believe that, okay, this is really a special team. They can go on a run. They're going to get some guys back, hopefully, and that can make the team even stronger. And this is not a team you want to face in the postseason. That's how I view it. A lot to talk about, though. Joe Musgrove, an update there. Doesn't seem like he's pitching in the Miami series, but he should be able to come back the next homestand when the Padres are back, I believe, to face the Rockies. Or maybe it's the Pirates. I think it's the Pirates. Back at home. Tatis, there's an update a little bit there. And then obviously I'll react and give thoughts on all 3 games of this series. I'll go to the chat and answer questions, reply to comments. Super chat, the button is there if you must or if you would like to. I appreciate anyone that wants to do that. If you want to join the show, you can click on that link pinned up at the top of the chat like Diego did. Diego, I'll bring you on here. What's up, man? How you doing?
I am feeling much better today. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Thank you, man.
I will say that so what really kind of bothered me during the game is when Randy Vasquez was I think he could have just got the 3rd out or at least let it go a little bit. I don't know if this was an organizational plan to only allow him a certain amount of pitches, which it could be, but I think that's starting to backfire a little bit. He's low key been pretty good. He's not Michael King by any standards. He's not Garrett Cole. Not Garrett Cole. He's not Tyler Glasnow by any standards, but he has kept us within a certain striking distance. And it's just to me, maybe I'm just a little more old school. I grew up in the 90s, watching baseballs. Pitchers would go 8-9 innings. Maybe I got to kind of forget about that. But I think Randy Vasquez needs to learn, give Randy Vasquez the opportunity to learn to get out of jams like that. And obviously we could see how Pittsburgh got the confidence. Hey, let's get back in the game. Those are the kind of teams, obviously, we beat, but we can't get back in the game, if that makes sense. Overall, I am feeling that I'm trying to think of like how it all went down, but Peralta, I think, has been clutch, and I don't know why people called for his head to be designated. It's like, come on, the guy's a veteran. He's been an all-star before. I mean, what was it, 21? I think he was an all-star the last time.
Yeah.
But regardless, wow, I'm drawing a blank for some reason for the game. But regardless, it was a good 3-game sweep. I mean, we're won 5 straight. We've only lost 2 games this entire second half.
Yep.
And people will say, well, you guys got an easy schedule. Well, if Cleveland, Baltimore, and LA are considered easy, okay, fine. Beat them too.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you have any questions, sir? I mean,
no, I mean, you're talking about Randy. I think that's a good point. But what I would say, opposing that view, I guess today, I was kind of fine with what they did with Vasquez. Sometimes, yeah, I do understand what you're saying there. But in that bottom of the 6th, this is what happened. I mean, single to Brian Reynolds, wild pitch, single, fly out. So there's only 1 out in the inning there. And then there's single to Tellez, single De La Cruz. And then they bring in Carl Edwards Jr. And in that situation, the Padres, it was a shutout, right? I think 4-0 at that time. And yeah, Carl Edwards Jr. did not have his best 2024 Padres debut, obviously. But I was fine with taking Vasquez out there because he got a lot of batters in that inning to get more than 1 out in that situation. And what was his pitch count? I think his pitch count was
like barely 83, right?
85. Yeah, 85 was
close. Yeah.
So he had more probably in the tank, but it's not like he was pitching in earlier innings and he was, getting through innings. He was having a hard time getting through that inning. And I assume that Schilt had the confidence in Carl Edwards Jr. to bring him in and be able to get through that, and not just get through that, but get through multiple innings. Because his last outing before coming up to the big league level, he threw over 80 pitches with El Paso. So I was thinking that he was trying to have Edwards like maybe almost finish the game, seeing that it's 4-0. Maybe the offense can add on. Vasquez, what are the Padres expecting out of him going into outings? Is it 5 innings and then hopefully it's good because of the bullpen the Padres have? But then the situation the Padres had today was you had Edwards, but then who else did you have? You had Jason Adam, you had Suarez, Matsui, but that was pretty much it. So I think that they were trying to get as much as they could out of Vasquez, considering the bullpen situation. But once that 6th inning, I think it was the 6th, yeah. Once that was kind of unraveling there and he was having a hard time even he only got 1 out in that inning. That's where I agreed to go to someone else, and hopefully that guy pulls it together and can get through it. Obviously that didn't happen. But I was actually fine with it. I've disagreed with Schilt before, this season. In like you're saying, like, yeah, give him a chance. But I think he has faith in his starting pitchers. I think with Vasquez, over 80 pitches already, and again, just the hard time getting through that inning. I think it would be one thing if he was at 85 and he was, a couple base runners on, but he was able to get through it. That just wasn't happening.
Oh, I completely agree. Maybe it's just I'm too stuck in the 90s, 2000s with the Peavies and the Maddoxes, but I will say that I thought Vasquez got 2 outs. He only got 1 out that inning.
I'll double check here.
I thought he got 2. That's what I'm saying. If he's already got
fly out by Bart. That's all I got. Yeah, fly out by Bart.
Oh, so Edwards did get an out. Oh, that's amazing.
Edwards, let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Oh, wait. There was this. Oh, yeah, that's right. Merrill threw out O'Neal Cruz.
Right.
So it's not really him getting the out, but yeah. He got Bart to fly out after that. So yeah, there were 2 outs in that inning. So yeah. He got 2 outs in the inning, but after that, there was the back-to-back singles, Tellez, De La Cruz, and it's like, can we get through this? Cabrian Hayes was the first guy coming up with Carl Edwards Jr. on the mound. There was the wild pitch that Edwards came right in, but yeah, he did get 2 outs technically.
Charlie Hayes' kid, yeah, that's right. So, but okay, well, I will say so, and then we go to Miami, and I mean, I would love a sweep, but hey, if we take 2 or 3, it's still a good road trip. I that's just the way I see it.
Oh yeah, especially when you sweep Pittsburgh, like you have 1 loss on the road trip, of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean we had 2 losses on the first road trip and it was gold. So what are we? My only thing is, for me it's just yeah, we are only 2.5 games back, but when LA starts getting a little more healthier, even not that it mattered because we beat them when they were healthy. I'm not going to jump and be like, oh my God, we're 2.5 games back. It's like we got a whole month. I mean, I hate to say it, maybe we could go on a crazy losing streak. God forbid it happens. So I mean, there's still a lot of baseball left. It's not over until 1:60 as soon as it's 3 p.m. on the last Sunday of the year, and everything's unless somehow we clinch the West the weekend, like that weekend or a week before that. So I just love the momentum that we have right now. We're all coming together. When Tatis returns and Musgrove returns, it's going to be more solidified. And I do like the fact that Higashioka, he got the spot. He's like, okay, let me see what I could do. He's hit more home runs, and I think Cavasano's hit since last year, I think.
Well,
I mean,
dude,
I could be wrong.
do you see Higgy's OPS? It's at over 800.
Oh my goodness,
His home runs per at bat. Maybe I'm forgetting the exact number, but home runs per at bat, I think it's up there with Aaron Judge this year because he doesn't
that's
have
still
as
pretty
many
damn
at
good.
bats, obviously, as Judge, but
Right.
like it's up there. So it's
Well,
crazy what he's doing.
yeah, and I think that he didn't really get much of a chance with who was it? I think it was Gary. Well, Gary Sanchez is one of the guys funny that blocked him from that.
Yeah.
And I think, and then he just got his chance, started hitting, and I think that confidence grew. He's an Orange County guy, so he's familiar. I'm sure Southern California is his happy place. So, and I'm just glad he's on our team and not on another rival team. And it's like, oh, geez, here we go. We got to face Higgy, you know? So I mean, if without his production, like filling in the void catcher, I don't think we get where we were at. Honestly, that's part of it, not all of it. And of course the bench guys that came along, Solano and David Peralta. I keep wanting to say Estrada for some reason, but those guys making the bench a little more solidified, as a backup. That's a playoff contender. But again, we still got to get there first, and then we can talk wild card round, unless we're in the divisional series or even NLCS, and we'll see. So I still think we have a long way to go, no matter this, even if there's less than 50 games left. And I've saying this from a guy who's dealt with it, for 14 years, watching other teams in the playoffs, or we're close in certain years, and then we fall short in the last weekend. So I'm, like when you said the last time the Padres won the World Series, I'm sorry, excuse me, wow, that was terrible. Won the division. It was when you were 3, and it's like, well, I was a senior in high school when that happened, or I was starting my first semester at school. So, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's literally sometimes it goes down to the very end, and as long as we keep the momentum going, we're just winning games. We're not worrying about LA. We already beat them 7 out of 10, right? 7 out of 10, about.
Yeah.
So, so it's like, why do we have to keep worrying about other teams? Just keep winning. Arizona, they're only down by 1. They were just down by 4-1, and now they just come back. So, we just got to keep winning, and Arizona's going to be on our tail. Just keep winning. Don't worry about the rest,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm totally confident that that's this team's mindset. I mean, when you have guys like Jackson Merrill and Jerkson Profar in that clubhouse, we know that's what the mindset is. It's next day. All right, cool. That was a cool series sweep. But now next day against the Marlins, and don't take the Marlins lightly. Again, I hate going back to last year, but it's clearly different, and how they're attacking games. It doesn't feel like they're playing down to the competition as much. Was there mistakes in his Pirate series? Of course, but
of course,
it feels like there's more fight there. You get down late in a game, who cares? You get down 8-0, who cares? You just keep playing. Don't look at the scoreboard. Act like it's a 0-0 game. You're just trying to put runs on the board. And so I'm confident that they're going to keep their head down and keep going. But yeah, thanks, Diego. I appreciate it, man.
Of course. Yeah. Have a good night, man. Thanks.
You too. See ya. All right. I see Stat Nerd Baseball wants to come on. What's up? How's it going, man?
Oh, there we go.
1 second. Here you are.
Volume is on. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Padres won. I aged a year in this entire series. I swear, it is always something crazy that happens when the Padres go to Pittsburgh. I mean, last year, Tim Hill forgets how to do PFPs.
Yep.
2 years ago, the ball off of Hosmer's glove that leads to a walk-off. I was saying this in a chat. It's always something in Pittsburgh. I don't know. There's got to be something in the water.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's Well, this series, I should say, we're gonna remember it for the rain delay, and then the Manny great plays defensively, The Tanner Scott not being able to find the strike zone, the ending of today, the error by O'Neal Cruz, I believe it's short, and that brought in a couple of runs. It was a long series, long games, longer games than normal for this Padres season, no doubt.
Oh, for sure. I think the rain delay for me, like as soon as I saw that it was a 2-hour rain delay, I was like, okay, the bullpen is going to be the key to this series. Like if the bullpen can do their job well, because we know Brian Hoeing stepped up, but then the concern was, okay, you're going to need everyone to pitch at least twice in this series. Like you had Matsui go on back-to-back days. The whole thing with Suarez yesterday. He got he said Mike Schilt after the game was like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't planning on going to Scott there. It's just he got charged with a mound visit for arguing the non-ball, which was
he
wasn't bizarre.
He wasn't arguing at first. I think he did eventually, but he was trying to just keep Manny on the field because he didn't have any bench left in that situation. So he came out to like, guys, stop, keep yourself in the game, and then the umpire charged him with the mound visit, and then have to take him out at the end of. Was it that batter or the next
2
batter?
outs with 2 outs, they took him out.
Yeah.
I will say, because I was listening to it on the radio, so Jesse and Tony were really calling it incredibly well. As soon as Scott couldn't find the zone, I was not really nail biting, but you know what I mean, metaphorically, because it was like, oh shoot, who do you turn to now? And then luckily they went to Morejon for this. Only the second time they turned him on back-to-back days, which is, they're gonna need him to do that, what he did yesterday. Now, I was really satisfied that he was able to go 2 days in a row because I was like, okay, he's like the last guy you have left because you still want to save someone for tomorrow, given the lack of optionability on the roster. And then Edwards, somehow this is his second worst. Actually, I don't know. This outdoes his debut from 2019.
Yeah.
I tweeted about
both
this.
Both of them were bad. Yeah.
It was so bad. That was 5 years ago, more than 5 years ago, actually, because that was in July. And then now it's August of 2024, and it's because he was being a starter in El Paso. I didn't get to, so I thought, okay, that I saw you were saying this earlier, you thought you were gonna have him go multiple innings. I thought that was the plan, from the get-go. That felt like it was the plan, but then he just couldn't find the zone, and at that point the stuff that's in the water kind of just started to come out, and you're just like, oh no, what's gonna happen now? And I want to talk about Matsui for really quick because I was really satisfied with the way he's thrown the ball recently. The home run by Bart, that's the best spot for him to put that fastball. I saw this, Giannis tweeted it. He was like, when he puts the fastball there, they're swinging and missing 30% of the time, which is an insane rate. And I thought, okay, that was literally the perfect pitch for that situation, especially for Matsui because of the vertical break on that fastball. And then he turned it around. But this team keeps fighting back. And I know after Korea, Mike Schilt was saying, oh yeah, we found our identity. And I actually heard this on the radio on, I think it was on Gwen and Chris, that they're saying, hey, it feels a little early for that. But then that's just been this team. They don't give up. And you mentioned Higgie's OPS. The home runs are definitely carrying it. But at the same time, the home run rate is higher than Ohtani's. I think Jay Posner tweeted it earlier. The home runs per at bat is higher than Shohei Ohtani, which is insane.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of them are day games and or in pretty big situations. It's not like he's hitting homers in, 6-0 games. He's hitting them to take a lead like the other night. And it's one of those, again, like I said the other night, not a lot of people were talking about Kyle Higashioka, and understandably so when that trade happened. Just like a lot of people weren't talking about Donovan Solano, David Peralta. And what I mean by that is non-diehard Padre fans, because of course we're going to be talking about it. But those moves don't get a lot of recognition, and why would they? But this is what makes winning baseball teams. It's not just the star players. It's what are the pieces around those guys. And this Padres team has those guys. It has not just the Jackson Merrills, the Mannys, the Bogarts, guys like that, but it has the Solanos. It has a Rise who he's a big name, but he's not like the superstar level power guy. He's definitely not Manny. You have the Profars, who's obviously one of the huge parts of this team, but in terms of salary, $1 million, that's more of not a huge guy. You have those guys on this team, Higgy, and it's so refreshing considering last year where we had Nelson Cruz and Matt Carpenter and David Dahl, I think, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it was
And
him.
Matt Beatty, was that a couple years
That
ago?
was 3 years ago.
Dang. Yeah, time flies. But like these moves, they're working. And when you have that depth, I've looked at teams in the past, teams that have had a lot of success. They have those role players around. So like the 2019 Nationals, they had Trey Turner, they had Juan Soto, they had Anthony Rendon when he was really good, but they also had the Howie Kendricks, the Adam Eatons, guys like that were actually big parts of their team. Victor Robles before he kind of fell off. They had those guys, and this is what this Padres team has.
Yeah, like to go a little further back in history, this Padres team kind of has a similar vibe to that 98 team where they went out and at the deadline they got like a Jim Leyritz, who was definitely not like an everyday starter, but he definitely clutched it up when the time came. And I've been reading too much about the 98 team recently, long story. But the way that this team is never down and out of it is giving me 98 vibes. And I wasn't even alive in 98. Like I was born in 02, so I was not alive when this happened. But visibly, they have that attribute you can't quite quantify, but you know exactly what it is.
Yeah, and that's part of the identity. I think you talked about the identity earlier. That's what Mike Schild has done like since day one. I mean, while some didn't totally believe like the division, like, hey, let's focus on making the postseason. That was him at this opening press conference. He mentioned the NL West, and that's the goal. And we're going to play fundamentally good baseball. We're going to fight. And it was, last year, Eric Grupner on, I think, Ben and Woods, he was talking about how they wanted to get like hungrier players on the younger, hungrier players on the roster.
I heard that interview. Yeah.
And that was during the season last year, I believe. And well, that for sure has happened, and it's led by Jackson Merrill, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I saw this earlier. This is like one of the last few things I want to say, because I know you probably have a whole other set of things you want to get to. But
yeah,
Jackson Merrill, in my honest opinion, as a Padre fan for life, got to say it, no rookie has made a bigger impact than Jackson Merrill on the field this year. I don't care about Paul Skenes' numbers. I know they're insane. But at the same time, Skenes only goes out and pitches once every 5 days. Merrill's out there every single day. And the one play that he did earlier this season that will forever stick with me, you're up like 12-1, and he still goes and he makes a diving catch in the ninth inning. For sure.
Yeah, I knew exactly where you were going when you said that, but that's, Too Much Morton's, on social media, he posted the big video of all of Merrill's hits this year, and it's Padre fans, go watch it if you haven't, because
it is 3 times.
It's taking the ball the other way. It's short swings. It's quick to the ball. You see the power there, but not trying to do it. He's not trying. There's some one-handed finishes, but there's a lot of two-handed finishes. He's not trying to go yard. He's come up clutch, obviously, in big situations. And even in the situations that aren't looked at as clutch, but they end up being clutch based on what happens later in the game, he shows up. He cares about winning. That's it. We heard about this in spring training when he was talking about the result. Like, he was bummed that the Padres lost a spring training game, I think, to the Cubs. He cares about winning. That's it. And I absolutely love that. So happy that he is a Padre. But yeah, anything else, by the way?
No, just great series. And I really hope that, they're able to take care of business in Miami. That would be nice, because last year in Miami did not go well in May.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can take care of business then, come back home and take care of business as usual. I know they're not going to go on like a 17-game win streak. That would be nice, but I'll take 27-39 or 14 out of 16 and whatever they're doing. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you. See ya. All right, I see David wants to come on as well. Let's try to get him on in here. What's up, David? How's it going?
What's up? For all the people in the chat that have been wondering who's the face behind the voice, it's me.
There you go.
I mean, I'm just a little kid, but, who cares? But the first game, I had to play a movie with the show just for like, what was it, 2.5 hours because that's the only range relay was. I was just super bored. I was pumped to watch the baseball game. And then I see Jackson Merrill looking like he's going to take a swim in the giant lake out on the warning track.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, now I can't do anything. But that win was nice. What C? Oh yeah, that was the C start. The C start.
Yeah.
Because he pitched 1 inning. I don't count that as a start, which means he should be able to pitch in Miami. I'm pretty sure.
Sunday, I think. I think it's going to be Vasquez, Waldron, and then Cease. And then Musgrove hopefully on Monday.
Yeah. But like, look at Brian Hoeing picking up the slack. What, 3 2/3, almost 4 innings of work. Yep. I forgot. I'm pretty sure our entire bullpen pitched that game, or not everybody, but a majority of our bullpen. Everybody
Hoeing. Shout out to Hoeing. 3 2/3, no earned runs, struck out 3. He pitched Morahone, scoreless inning. Jason Adams, scoreless inning. Tanner Scott, inning and a third, no runs. And then Estrada pitched, inning, no runs. So almost everyone. Suarez didn't go. But, almost everyone. Alec Jacob was still on the roster at that point. But it was a team group effort. And what I loved, and I'll obviously let you keep talking, but just kind of going over that first game since you mentioned it, it was contributions from multiple guys, not trying to do too much. Tyler Wade, RBI single. Donovan Solano, RBI single. Xander Bogaerts, RBI single. Donovan Solano again in the ninth to add more insurance and make it 6-0. Like, it wasn't the power of what we saw today with Peralta and Machado, what we saw yesterday with Merrill having a huge day. But you got the job done. And I know that I'm not the only one that has said this, but it feels like last year's team, that's a game that they would have lost and we would have just moved on and like, yep, whatever. You lose your best starter, arguably your best starter, 1 inning, big rain delay, and you come out and you punch back and you shut the Pirates out after, again, 1 inning from him. And I don't know if the bullpen would have picked the Padres up as much as they did in that game, in game 1 of this series. And if they did, I don't know what the offense would have done of last year. Talent on that offense, but you had guys in that clubhouse admitting to quitting, and you had guys in that clubhouse that were not all about the team, and that obviously was an issue. But go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of games we would have lost last year, these last 2 games in the series, I'm pretty sure the second game, the middle game, was 4 hours long.
Yeah,
I was.
Yeah, like 3. I have the time right here. 3. Let's see. 3:56. Yeah, pretty much 4 hours long. Yeah, it was a long one.
And I thought MLB was supposed to have shorter games, not longer games. Like, I don't think I've ever watched a 4-hour game. And especially because my heart rate's going up and down.
13 pitchers will do that. 13 pitchers and how many? 17 runs, 10 innings. That's going to end up being a pretty long game.
Yeah, I cannot explain. Like, my dad was texting me back and forth. He was like, how is your team getting out of these jams? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Because, like, this game is going back and forth. And, like, 1 minute I'm like, oh, yeah, we had the lead. And then they tie or they give up the lead. I'm like, oh, no. And then I see Aroldis Chapman dotting 105 to Manny Machado. And I'm getting scared we're going to lose. And then Jackson freaking Merrill shows up and hits a bomb off Bednar, who I checked his stats before he came in. I think it's like a 4 or 5 year race. So he's not been good this year. So it was like the Craig Kimbrell situation. I'm like, I'm not really that scared of him, but he's not really that good this season. And what do you know? Jackson Merrill took a middle fastball. He just sent it straight to center field.
He just keeps showing up in those big moments. I don't know if we made a power rankings of like, who do you want up in a big situation? Would Merrill be number 1? Would Profar be number 1? It would have to be, I think, between those 2 guys right now. And you pick either one, and you're going to have a good shot. You could have Luis Arraez. You could have Donovan Solano. There are definitely guys. I mean, the way Manny's hitting, you could go with him. Same thing with Bogaerts. But for me, it would be between Merrill and Profar right now. And I don't care who you pick. Like, those guys are great. And Jackson Merrill showing the fire, how pumped up he was after he hit that homer. Let's not forget the first homer that he hit in that game. But, it was such a roller coaster of a game, winning 9-8 in 10 innings. Just Bryce Johnson, starting from the beginning, Bryce Johnson making that ill-advised dive, and then, of course, the Padres have to pay for it because a pitch out of the zone, Tellez just makes contact, and that scores a run. I think Manny botched one a little bit later in the game. It was not the cleanest game, no doubt. And Jackson Merrill said post-game yesterday, great game. I don't know if it was a great game, but it was a really entertaining game. I mean, we were obviously locked into it. Anyone that was watching, couldn't take your eyes off of it. Higgy homering, Andrew McCutchen homers. Merrill comes through with the RBI single, making it 5-4 in the fifth. And that was just the beginning of everything that happened because Kutch singles, then Merrill homers in the ninth. But that's just the scoring stuff. 10th, obviously, the Padres, they add on with Bogarts, his single, Manny sac fly, Merrill sac fly. Which, by the way, they initially didn't call that a sac fly, so I'm glad that they actually gave Merrill the credit there. But it was just a roller coaster because of the bullpen there. Estrada struck out 4 guys in that inning, but because of the drop third strike, and that was Higgy's fault, obviously, that guy reaches and the Pirates score runs there. And then Robert Suarez can't get through his inning. Tanner Scott has to come in. He can't find the zone. And it's like and this happened multiple games, I think, in this series, because, it happened today, where, man, those insurance runs, not giving up even when you have the lead. Not just, okay, we have the lead, let's just go into the next inning. But continuing to add on has been so huge because the bullpen, sometimes there's some leaks in it, some mistakes happen, and you win by 1 run, like we saw the last couple of nights. And so those insurance runs, were so huge in this game. But Tanner Scott, that was such a terrible series of events to be watching in that situation, because you have Tanner Scott on the mound and we're confident in him. I know he gave up the homer in his first appearance, but it's Tanner Scott, and there's nothing you can do. You're just sitting there and you know that he has lost the zone and he's not going to regain it. It was like today with Bednar, I think. Just can't find the zone, and you have the 3 batter minimum rule, and you trust him, so you maybe don't have a guy up, and you really need to get someone up, but you don't want to put him in after 2 warm-up pitches. I believe that's what Tanner Scott went into the game, by the way, the other day. Last night, he barely threw any warm-up pitches because of the situation that happened there. Suarez had to come out of the game, and it was just, okay, when are they going to go to this next guy? Who is it going to be? Obviously, ended up being Adrian Morejon, and he gets through it. But, yeah, just a roller coaster of a game, no doubt.
Yeah, if it was last year or even earlier this year, we probably would have lost that game because, if it was last year, our team probably would have given up. Or if it was earlier this year, our bullpen probably would have imploded again.
Well, we would have had Anuel De Los Santos instead of Tanner Scott or Adrian Morejon in that situation, because those guys would have pitched before. Morejon would have already pitched probably. Yeah.
Yeah, Anuel would have given up 3 home runs, and then I would have been sitting there pounding the table, how, 3 home runs? What are you doing, bro? But moving on to the third game, I was out doing something when the game started, and my phone, coincidentally, this is me being an irresponsible person, my phone died, so I was completely in the dark, so I didn't know what was going on. I watched the first 2 or 3 innings, and I just didn't know what was happening. And then my phone is finally charged when I get back home, and I figured out what happened. I'm like, we came back again. So I have no idea what. I mean, I think I looked at it. Didn't Carl Edwards almost implode?
He pretty much did, and then the Padres got him out as soon as they pretty much could. He didn't get an out in the performance. See, here, this is what happened with Edwards. It was, the 6th inning, I think. 6th inning, I'm scrolling down to find it here. So Vasquez, he got 2 outs in the inning, but it was really thanks to Merrill throwing O'Neill out at second base, because, I mean, there's not many other center fielders that probably would have made that throw on the money like that. But, yeah, 2 outs. Edwards comes in. He walks the first guy, gives up a single. Now it's 4-3 Padres. Walks Michael A. Taylor, and then that was it. So it was face 3 batters. You clearly don't have it. Walk, single, walk. And then they went to Yuki Matsui. And Manny Machado, got to mention him for this series. Holy cow. Defensively, it feels like it's every night that this is happening. ball down the line and he's making a fadeaway throw right to Jake Cronenworth, or Jake on the other side is making a great play as well, going into the first base lane, tagging the runner before he reaches first. Today, bases loaded in that situation because Carl Edwards Jr. couldn't do anything there. Matsui comes in, gets the grounder, and that's a tough ball that Manny got to, gloves it, gets the runner at first. If Manny doesn't make that play, runner scores, who knows what happens later in that inning, and the Padres don't win in that situation that they won it. Because the game would have been tied 7-7 if everything else happened the way it did. So Manny he's been huge offensively, obviously. He had a homer today, and he's been huge defensively. And I hope that Padres fans don't take for granted what Manny does defensively, just because sometimes he makes it look easy. Because there's other teams where the third baseman, they make it look super difficult, and it's like, oh, wow, what a play. But if we watch Manny do it, it wouldn't look that difficult. So I think a lot of Padres fans don't take for granted what they see from Manny. Maybe it's just a message to like all baseball fans. Like Manny has still got it. He's still one of the best third basemen in baseball. He's probably the best defensive third baseman in baseball. And yeah, he was so clutch in this series. I wanted to at least mention the defense because I would have felt like an idiot if I didn't mention the defense. It was huge, really huge.
Yeah, I mean, I have a group chat with a few of my friends, and sometimes they get on me for being a Padres fan and stuff. And I'm gonna send a text and I'm gonna say, where are the haters now? I mean, we're 12 games over. I mean, you want me to not be a Padres fan? I'm sorry, I just can't. 12 games over 500. I've been a Padres fan since I've been able to play baseball, so I don't know.
You're not from San Diego, right?
Yeah, no, I'm from Michigan.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, so they're Tigers fans?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just tell them to go look at the standings and see what the difference is. Padres 64-52, and the Tigers are 55-60. So they're still, trying to get back to where they were years ago with Miggy and Victor Martinez and all those guys. But yeah, the Padres, they're in it for the division. 2.5 games back. It's within reach. They've got, I think, one more series against the Dodgers. They've got games against the Diamondbacks. And they've got a favorable schedule in terms of the opponents here the next couple of series, next few series. And then there's games with like no off days, so that's not great, but they're playing good baseball right now. And so far, they're doing a better job of taking advantage of the opponents that they're facing. I just wish they would have done a better job a little bit earlier in the season, and they'd be like a half game back maybe of the division, not 2.5. But for me, again, like as long as they make the postseason, that's what I care about, and then go on a run from there.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the division. I mean, Dodgers fans can say all they want that, oh yeah, we have a bunch of injuries, so of course you're going to be close to the division. But I'm like, other teams have had injuries. We've had injuries to some of our major stars. Profar was out like a little bit this year. Tatis obviously has been out like majority of this year. Same with Musgrove. Darvish is who knows when he's going to come back. So you're not the only banged up team. So I don't want to hear that excuse that, oh yeah, you're only about to hopefully not win a division, but like get close because we're injured. I'm like, well, we're injured too. So maybe just be better at baseball or have better depth like this team. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, like us. And they, Dodger fans mention how, oh, well, this last 2 games against the Padres, they didn't have their guys. And it's like, well, the Padres were already winning the season series going into that when Mookie and Freddie, those guys were playing. They won series. I think they won the series at Dodger Stadium. They've won games. And there's still a lot of players that were on that 2022 team that were a part of that, and the Dodgers had guys there. So I don't want to hear the health stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of guys missing from the Dodgers. And guess what? The Padres, they were without Xander Bogaerts for a long time. They've been without Joe Musgrove for a long time. They're without Yu Darvish, maybe for the rest of the season. We still don't know. They're without Fernando. They've had a lot of it. Manny was not 100%, probably still isn't 100%, although he looks really good. But he mentioned earlier in the year how he's probably not going to be 100%. We lost Juan Soto in the offseason. I mean, we've dealt with stuff too. So yeah, I think it's Dodger fans. They try to make themselves feel better about the Padres beating them, and that's okay. Hopefully they'll feel better, but I have a feeling they're still not going to feel great come October because we can always count on them to not go as far as that fan base feels like they're going to go every year. All that money that they spend, and look what it's brought them.
Yeah, a sweep by the D-backs. I forgot what. Oh yeah, the 2022 we beat them. Oh, of course. Like they just can't make it past. It's crazy. It's like we're like the king of the regular season, like the World Series of the regular season. That's what they get. And like speaking of Juan Soto, if the Yankees don't win the World Series, we won the trade. Because that's the reason why they traded for Juan Soto, to win a World Series. And if they don't, we won the trade.
We'll see if they bring him back, though. Now, if they bring him back, it's probably going to have to be a lot about the money, but it could be like he enjoyed being with New York, being with the Yankees. But what the Padres have gotten back, I mean, that helped them get Dylan Cease. They got Michael King. We'll see what happens with Vasquez, with Brito. They got Higgy, who's helping. Like if the Padres, if they go further than the Yankees this year, and Soto doesn't go back to the Yankees, then yeah, it's clear that the Padres won that. It's Yankees fans. They're obviously very emotional. Us Padres fans, we're emotional. Every fan base that cares about their team is emotional. But Yankee fans, they're going to go nuts if their team doesn't go far this year and Soto leaves and they see the Padres go farther and they get to see Michael King starting postseason games for the Padres while they're sitting at home. AJ Preller, another good job considering the circumstances out of him.
Yeah, Yankees fans, they overreact a little bit too much. Like Judge has a few bad games and they want to get rid of him. I'm like, it's Aaron Judge, give him a second. It's like if the Yankees don't do anything special, I feel like they're gonna burn down New York. Like it's just crazy. Like they're gonna start a revolution.
Yeah, I mean, I see that too on Padres social media as well. But yeah, again, it's every fan base that overreacts to every little thing. But that's what it is when you're following it day in, day out, 162 games. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, and you're going to get caught up in it. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you allowing me to go on the show. I finally showed my face. That's cool. And I hope you win this Miami series.
Yeah, me too. All right, David. Good to see you, man. Have a good one. Yep. All right. Let's see. We got Parker. What's up, Parker?
What's good, bro?
Doing good. Doing good.
Yeah, doing good as well. Crazy series.
Yeah. But I mean, they got the job done. They didn't just win the series, but they swept the Pirates, which that's what they needed to sweep one of the teams on this road trip. And hopefully they get multiple sweeps in this 15-game stretch of the Pirates, the Marlins, the Rockies. Again, taking advantage of it because who knows what's going to happen. Someone earlier in the show said about they could go on a losing streak. And yeah, that definitely could happen. There could be more injuries. There could be things that, how stuff went the Padres' way in this Pittsburgh series doesn't go their way in another series down the road, and they're going to need some games. So capitalizing for sure, that's going to be something huge. And the division, it's right there. It's within reach. So do you want it or do you not?
Yeah,
Take advantage. And hang on one second. He has this phrase that he's used, I think, multiple times talking to the media, and I think he uses it with the Padres players, like take everything. Something like take everything, don't give anything. Like don't give anything away, don't make the mistakes. But other teams, they're going to give mistakes. They're going to give you stuff, free stuff. Go take it, take advantage of it. And that's what this team's doing right now.
I think there's a lot to take away from the series. I mean, individually, like the individual players, I think there's a lot to look at. Oh, this guy's not doing very good. You can look at, there's lots of ways you can look at the series. But overall, I mean, you sweep a series, you have to be at least happy that you won that. But I think I think it's a little still up for grabs. I mean, you see like Luis Ariz played a little bit of second today. You see a lot of guys kind of playing all over, which is good to have those. When you have that situation where you have to like pick between a player, that's good to have. But I think it was good to see Ariz start getting clutch hits, because if you looked at it, I think the last time he got like a leadoff hit to start the game, most of his hits he was getting was in the end of the game.
Yeah.
Whenever, like, obviously in situations where we didn't really need a hit. Obviously, I'm not saying like that it was like useless or anything, but he started to get some hits. Obviously, with the hand injury, I understand that. It was nice to see Jurickson Profar back on the lineup today. Know that he's good, and I'm not like a hater, but like I really love Solano.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want him to get in the lineup more, just because I don't know. Like this. I understand like the at bats that Cronenworth and Kim have. They have more at bats than Solano, but righties and lefties, I'm pretty sure it's like either like 310 righties and like 313 lefties. It's like pretty close. So I mean, I don't
What I
know.
would say, yeah, I get your point, and I'm a huge Crony guy, so I tried like earlier in the year. I've like no, the defense, the value. There's a lot of value there, and he was actually one of the Padres. It was him and Profar really, and then Merrill. You could throw him in there. Those were the three best Padres players. But Crony since then, especially against lefties, it hasn't been as strong. And so I've warmed to that. To have Donovan Solano when a lefty's on the mound, you have Solano in there. And I'm not saying that Solano has to be in there the entire time. I'm just saying to start a game, it's what makes sense. And then, Crony came, I think, in one of these Pittsburgh games, he came in early because of the matchup. It changed. And
Yeah, in the
so
first game.
Solano's out of the game, and then boom, Crony's in there. So it's not like, again, Crony's getting benched half the games. No, he's getting benched maybe half the games if half, let's say, are lefties, but he's playing. They're putting him in these games. They're not just going to bench him the entire game. They know the value that he brings. I'm looking up here the left versus righties. So with Crony, he's hitting 195 against lefties. He's hitting 270 against righties. The OPS is, I think, 517. Yeah, 517 against lefties. So there's a clear difference there. If you get a lead and you have this bullpen, now Crony is like your Jose Azocar defensively. You put him in there, Solano can come out, or Ariz can come out, whatever. One of them's probably on the bench. Anyway, and that's a luxury to have as well, to have one of those guys come off the bench, be a bench bat, that possibility. But yeah, have Crony go in there at first, makes your defense better, as we saw at points during this Pittsburgh series, and that will help you win games. And it's not like Crony's, taking the veteran, selfish approach where it's like, no, I want to play. This is, I have the long-term contract. I should be playing. Of course, he wants to play, but he realizes, like, no, this is the right decision. He said it the other day. What was that? The Dodgers series, that last homestand where he got pinch hit for Solano with the walk-off.
Yeah.
And it's like that was obviously the right decision. He knows it. He's not stupid. He wants to win. He has his money. It's not like he's playing for the contract. He has the money. He's trying to win, and he wants to be the best teammate he can be. He wants to be on a winning team for this city. And so I respect it, and I'm totally in on whatever's best. If Crony's not playing, then Crony's not playing, and then he plays eventually. Because, again, he's not going to sit every game, the full game, against lefties, because he has value to this team. It's not like his value is only with his bat. His value comes when he's not producing offensively. It's still there.
Yeah, I'm really not mad about Cronenworth as much. It's more about Kim for me. I understand with the shortstop situation. He leads our team in errors, and it's hard. It's a lot harder for Kim to sit and Solano to play than it is for Cronenworth to sit and Solano to play. Because then you'd either have to put, like they had Tyler Wade at shortstop, but then you have to put another guy out. Because I really haven't seen them. They haven't put Xander Bogaerts at shortstop once this year, and
I think they have. I think they have.
They have,
But not.
really.
I don't think starting though.
Okay. But if they don't move Bogarts to shortstop, I think that's the only option because Tatis, all those guys in the outfield, they're staying there. You're not moving Machado. I mean, Solano's not playing shortstop. I mean, the only other option would be like Cronenworth at shortstop, which I mean he's played there, but I think Xander Bogaerts would be our best option. But I don't obviously see them doing that. But if Kim continues to struggle severely, then I could see that happening. Do you think Kim will be in the lineup for till October, or do you think if this continues to happen? I know in the second game of the series he did have a good walk and a good hit, but before that and today hasn't really been amazing.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good point that you make. I think there's the difference there. Like with Bogarts at second base, it feels like Schilt and the Padres want him to stick at second base. They don't want him to go to short, or else I think they would have done it because they're already doing the whole Crony Solano thing in a rise. They're doing that, and Crony's an everyday player. He has a big contract. Now it's not $280 million, but I don't think Schilt's thinking about that. I think he's thinking Kim provides value defensively, and we want to keep Bogarts at second base. We don't want to start the whole, oh, well, Bogarts is at short now. Is he going to be at short long term for the Padres again? And he's no longer the second baseman. I feel like they were like, hey, no, Bogarts, you're the second baseman. If it wasn't Bogarts, if it was someone else, maybe that, was coming over from another team. But because they made that switch to second base, and it was such a big deal in spring training when it happened, I feel like they're just, no, we're not putting him back at shortstop. If Kim's healthy, then he's going to be playing shortstop. I think the Padres still see the value that he has defensively. Now the air thing, I was trying to look that up. I wasn't able to actually find it. If that is true, that's not it's not super surprising.
It's 10, I believe.
He's playing pretty much every day, and short gets a lot of chances, obviously. But while I've noticed, I don't feel like it's as crisp as last year. It's still not bad defense.
No, yeah, he's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Crony one, I think, if this makes sense, at first base, it's, I think, easier to be like, yeah, let's put the better offensive guy there. Where at short, sure, Bogarts can go play short, but there's the whole shoulder thing. He can go play there in his sleep because he's played there his whole life. But I just don't think that they want to juggle around the infield. If you put Bogarts at short and Kim's not playing, then that means you have Arise at second base, or do you have Cronenworth at second base? And then you have to play Arise or Solano every day. And then that other guy has to be in the lineup every day. Not the worst thing in the world. I mean, Kim could hit as well, but he's not going to DH. They'd put him in the field. I just feel like they want the best defense that they can have out there. And it's one of those, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're winning baseball games, so they're going to keep Kim out there. And if they don't win baseball games and Kim continues to struggle offensively and they're just trying to find any offense they can possible, then maybe they would. But I just don't see that happening really anytime soon.
Yeah, and I always look back at what you say is, if they're winning, why does it, like, it does matter, but, like, at the same time, if you're winning with him in the lineup, it's still working if you play Solano maybe once, when everyone's healthy, maybe once every 3 games of a series or once every 4 games, whatever. But if it's working, then why would you change it? I mean, I don't think if you were to change it, it would mean you guys would start losing. But I see. I can just
imagine Schilt, let's say Kevin Acee or Dennis Lin asked the question to him about, like, why is Ha-Seong Kim still, like, is there a thought of moving Ha-Seong Kim or moving Bogart to short and putting someone else at second? And Schilt would look back, or maybe he'd have one of his laughs and be like, what are we since the All-Star break? Are we winning baseball games? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. And he knows that they're winning. So that can literally be his response. And it would literally be a valid response because they're winning games. And Kim has not been terrible defensively.
Yeah, I didn't want to, stay on here too long because I know you have other people probably or anything. But the only other thing I thought of this, I do not see this happening at all. but with him with him being slower than he normally is, because in the past 2 months, I think Luis Ariz is batting. I think it's close to 260 in the last 2 months, not counting August, counting like July and June. But what are your thoughts on moving him lower in the lineup so that when he's making contact early when no one's on base, it's not just an out, right? So if other people are on base and he's making contact, he's going to be pretend, he bats 7 or 8, and then you got Jackson Merrill above him, and then Xander, and they're getting hits. And then he's coming up with runners on base. He might make what he normally flies out to like left or center, but that's still doing damage, moving runners over instead of just being a leadoff fly out. I understand today he's actually started hitting the ball harder today and a little bit farther. But that was just my thought on maybe putting them lower with more runners on base to actually do more damage than just getting out with contact when no one's on base.
Yeah, and his average right now 302, or excuse me, 303, and 2 hits. These are like his last 10 games. 2 hits, no hits, 1 hit, 1 hit, no hits. 1 hit, 1 hit, 2 hits, 1 hit, 1 hit. He's getting at least a hit. So yeah, that's a good point that you bring up. And I would not be opposed to seeing Jackson Merrill be higher, maybe give him that leadoff spot chance. You have Xander, who's hitting a lot of singles as well. So there are guys there that could do that. But again, it's also one of those things like, hey, we're scoring runs, we're winning games. Ariza's job is to be the leadoff hitter. He knows he's the leadoff hitter. And so I feel like Schilt just doesn't want to mess with that right now. But, I mean, I was saying it well before the All-Star game about Merrill try him leadoff. This was before Ariz came, obviously, but, like, I'd be okay with Merrill leading off. I think it's clear that the moment is not too big. I remember being on with Jim Russell earlier in the season, and he didn't want Merrill to be up in the lineup. He wanted to keep him down just to, like, keep him comfortable there, I guess. And I'm like, I'm seeing him not care where he's hitting. He's living up to the moment. This guy cares about winning. It's someone that you want, contact guy, someone you want at the top of the order, and he can do damage. So if I was Mike Schilt, yeah, I would look into it, and I'm sure that there are people there looking into it, but it's one of those, if they keep winning, then I don't see Mike Schilt changing it. And he has a lot of respect for veterans. He's just, because he's a big veteran himself, obviously, coaching in the game, and he knows what Luis Ariz brings. And Jackson Merrill, he's helping the Padres win games where they have him. What, 6th, 7th in the order, something like that?
6,
So,
yeah.
I just don't see much changing when the Padres are winning like this.
I would agree. I think Jerks and Profar does a great job leading off. I think you get Tatis back in there, and he normally bats 2. But the only thing I don't know why, it's these young guys that I have a connection to. Like I don't love Randy Vasquez. I love him because he has a lot of heart, and when I play baseball, I play with a lot of heart. So I like seeing him when he got hit in the Boston series. I like seeing him. He loves to win, even though he doesn't always have the best outings. But I love Alec Jacob, and at first as the day went on, it made more sense to me. I was looking into it more, and I was understanding, like, Mike Schilt has to think, what if he does bad? And I was thinking, like, well, why Alec Jacob? Because he didn't pitch the first day, and Yuki threw 21 pitches yesterday, and Jacob threw 22 pitches yesterday. So why are they going to allow Yuki? And I kept reading into it, and he was the younger guy. He had the options.
Yep. Yeah, because Yuki, because it's a major league contract, I'm not sure what that would look like. I think he would have to accept going down, and they wouldn't do that with him. They're not going to move Hoeing down. They're not moving anyone else, obviously, in that pen down. So it's really just the number game. And it's not fair, but he was like the only option when you needed a fresh arm.
Yeah, and I had a question about that because I didn't really know much about it. So when Wandy and Kolek come back, is Wandy on a major league contract?
Yeah. I think it's a 1-year deal.
And so Kolek is also – so they both will have to be in the lineup, right?
Kolek's Rule 5, so yeah, he would have to. So I could see Kolek not being here. Things could it could really get interesting, yeah.
Because I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, like, Do you think Mike Shit will call Alex Jacob back up because it's 10 days, right? Unless there's an injury.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you see him coming back up or no? Or will they?
I feel like he would at some point because there's probably going to be an injury, but I don't know when Wandy's going to come back. I don't know when Kolek is going to come back. I don't think there's been a firm timetable on that from Schilt. But yeah, Wandy, it's a 1 year with 3 player options. So 25, 26, 27. All of those are player options. So he's a big league contract. Kolek's a Rule 5, so he has to be on the roster if he's healthy. So they could just have Kolek be on the IL the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, we believe in you. But look at the situation we're in right now with this bullpen. And so, if something happens, we'll activate you. But right now, we just don't have the room. But we want to keep you. I don't know if they can do that. I'm sure it has happened unofficially. But yeah, the bull. It's a good situation, but it's also something that sucks because you're probably going to end up losing one of those guys. Kolek could be that guy that you lose. I don't think it would be the end of the world. I don't think Padres fans would be like, "Oh no, we lost freaking Kolek."
But because we can get rid of him, right?
Yeah, with the rule, because of the Rule 5, he'd go back to I think he was with Seattle. You offer him back if that team doesn't take him, then I believe he can go down to the minors.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like Kolek could be on the IL for a while, and they hope that he just stays on the IL maybe so they can keep him. Because things could happen, but the bullpen is in a good spot. There's a lot of depth in that pen, in the major league pen right now. So with Jacob, yeah, I don't know. He was pitching well, obviously. He was striking out a lot of guys.
Yeah, we can agree that he wanted to pitch more than Alex Jacob has this year, but I think having him, I'm not saying he's better than Estrada. I'm not saying I trust him more than these guys. They have one bad outing, and I do this too, but everyone's going crazy. But with the bullpen, I don't as much. You have one bad outing or maybe 2, but you've been good the whole year. I would like to see Alex Jacob in that 6th inning spot if a guy only goes 5 innings, because I think that 6th inning for us is always that big inning for whatever reason. It means a lot. That inning could change the game for us. And I think with the velocity difference between pitchers with Alex Jacob and whoever throws, Matt Walden throws a knuckleball, but he still throws 90, 91, and he has a lot of movement. But you have Cease or King or Martin Perez or Musgrove or Darvish or any of those guys, and then you throw in Alex Jacob there. I think that would be really good if it's middle bottom of the lineup, especially with how he strikes out guys with his movement, and he even touched 91 the other day. What was it? Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, when he pitched the second game. Yeah. Yesterday. So yeah, it's
I was thinking if a guy goes 5 and you bring in someone that throws gas for the 6, let's say Estrada,
okay,
and then you have Jacob come in, and then you go more gas. You go to Adam or Scott after that, and then obviously Suarez after. There's that. You could go more hone with matchups. You could go Jacob with a matchup, someone that doesn't face slower velocity very much or doesn't do well against a certain pitch with a righty on the mound. They could do that. But yeah, this bullpen, it's interesting to see. I feel like with Jacob, though, because he does have those options, because they can keep him in the minors, it's pretty much just it sucks for him, but he's just in the situation that others aren't. Others have big league contracts. Others, like Kolek, it's a Rule 5. And so they're going to get the opportunity before you because the Padres are trying to put themselves in the best spot depth-wise, and they're trying to keep everyone.
Yeah, the last thing before I go is, does this mean when Musgrove comes back, pretend they activate him in a couple days or whatever, does that mean Vasquez is going to stay as well?
Yeah, because he replaced Darvish, I think, right?
No, because we have Martin Perez, Michael King. So this is what we'd have. We'd have Martin Perez, Michael King, Dylan Cease, Matt Waldron, Joe Musgrove, and Randy Vasquez.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
I think they'd keep Perez. I think th'd put Vasquez down.
Yeah,
they'd keep
right.
Perez. Yeah, so it would be
And then you have
Musgrove, Cease, King, Waldron, Perez. Who am I blanking on? 'Cause I think they'd go with the 6. I think they would. I
Yeah,
think to
and
start, I think they would go with 6.
yeah, and if we
They could have
wanted to,
Hoeing. They could have Hoeing go after Musgrove.
yeah, can you move a bit like a Bryce John like right now? I think on the bench it's like Wade, Solano, Campy. I'm blanking.
Peralta some games.
Yeah, but like, what is it? Normally 4 or 5 guys on the bench. Is it? What is it? 4?
4, because 13 position players and 13 pitchers.
So can you have 12, or do you have to have 13?
For what?
Like, can we move a bench player down to add another bullpen spot, or no?
No.
Okay.
13 arms. 13 is the max. Yeah, because
Okay.
that's what because they don't want that.
I see what you're saying.
They're trying to have your guys go longer, so they created the maximum amount of pitchers.
Yeah, well, I really hope to see Alex Jacob back. I love his energy. He brings a
Yeah.
lot of energy.
Oh,
So,
it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be a negative if he came back. The
Yeah.
only negative would be someone probably got hurt.
yeah.
That's all. All right.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me join.
Yeah, of course. Thanks. Have a good one, man. All right. Quick break, and then I will get to some other topics I wanted to hit on. Check out Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries on Friars Road. You can visit their website, gaglionebros.com, for their entire menu and enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium as well. All right, a reminder about some of the other great partners as well. Breaking Tea, Padres and Aztecs shirts and sweatshirts. Click the link in the description for them. They just dropped a new Merrill Madness shirt. I don't know if you guys saw that. I posted the link on my socials. I think I posted on YouTube as well. But just click that Breaking Tea link and you can go there. You'll see the Merrill shirt. And by the way, some didn't know this. They actually didn't tell me. So if they would have told me, I definitely would have put it out. Because some were seeing like, oh, Merrill Madness, they're taking it from the Merrills. And I'd rather give my money to the Merrills, not Breaking Tea. But they're donating proceeds from that to the Merrill family's cause, which is helping families pay for travel ball, right? So that is happening. So if you like the Merrill Madness design from Breaking Tea, don't feel like, oh, you're giving money to them, not the Merrill family's cause. They're going to be donating that. I was in communication with them earlier today, so I just wanted to confirm that. And so there's a couple Merrill Madness shirts, I believe, out there from Breaking Tea that actually have like Merrill swinging on it, where the Merrill Madness shirts from the Merrill family, I believe it's just hashtag Merrill Madness is the main shirt. If you want like more on it, you can go to Breaking Tea. There's my point is there's multiple options for you. So yeah, there's that. Underdog Fantasy, you can claim a special pick and get a 50% deposit match up to $250 when you use code Talking Friars. That link in the description, and same code Talking Friars, $20 off your first order with SeatGeek. It'll help you out there. Trying to help you out. Take advantage of it. You'll be able to see if it's a good value, a bad value. So make sure to check it out. And obviously, love me some Gaglione Bros. Located first baseline, or not first, sorry, third baseline, Petco Park. I believe there's one in the upper deck as well. Great cheesesteak fries, cheesesteaks, cheese fries, just garlic fries. They've got a lot there. So use that to your advantage, everyone. If you're coming up to the next Padres homestand, which is after this Marlins series. So the 3 games against the Marlins, I think I was mentioning this earlier, but the probables for that. So no off day. It's just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Game 1 tomorrow going to be Martin Perez against Edward Cabrera. That's 4:10 first pitch. Saturday, Munoz and TBD as of now for the Padres, but I expect it to be Matt Waldron. And then on Sunday, Cease against Max Meyer, who I believe was a first-round pick not too long ago. So there's that. Saturday, that is at 1:10. Sunday is at 10:40 a.m. And then the Padres come back home with Musgrove, hopefully starting that Monday game at 6:40, the opener against the Pirates. this stretch of games, hopefully the Padres continue to take advantage. They've won every game except one in this stretch of 15 games that they started a couple series ago against teams that aren't going to be making the postseason this year. The Pirates, are now 2 games under 500. Really, the wild card race. It's the Braves. I don't believe are even in a postseason spot anymore. It's the Padres. Hang on, I'm pulling it up right now. The Padres, the D-backs, Cardinals are in there. So this Padres have the 1 spot. D-backs, Mets have the 3rd and final spot. Braves are a half game back. Cardinals 2.5. Giants 3 back. Then after that, that's the cutoff. I don't think the Giants are going to make it, but I'm just throwing them in there. 3 games. Okay, I'll keep you in that. But the Pirates, the Cubs, Reds, Nats. I mean, don't even need to mention Marlins, Rockies, but they're in the National League. They are obviously not going to be in it. The update on Joe Musgrove. So we'll be back not during Miami, but the Colorado series, which initially it was the Marlins series that he was going to come back for, but then there was the rain delay that happened. So Cease started. I think Musgrove was going to start Sunday, but Cease now starts Sunday. So they push him back, starting back at home, which I'm totally fine with. Facing his former team that traded him. So we could be looking at a pretty pumped up Joe Musgrove. Obviously, first start back against the former team in San Diego. We'll see. But let's say he gets, 4 innings. They can go with Hoeing after him, get to the bullpen, 7, 8, 9, boom, get a win there. And then you build up from there. And then once he's built up, maybe then the Padres face a decision. Do we stick with 6 men or do we take Martin Perez off? Would you put him in the bullpen? I don't know if Perez probably would take the option to AAA. Because is there a contending team that would put him on their team right now? It didn't seem like there was a ton of interest in Martin Perez at the deadline. The Padres just got him. I don't even remember, to be honest, the guy that they gave up for Martin Perez. So that's interesting because right now Musgrove's back. So it's Cease, King, Waldron, Musgrove, Perez, and Vasquez. Right? So actually, it would be Vasquez, I think, that they would take off. I think they would stick with Perez. It would be those 5. And then, Vasquez they can send down anyway. So that's not even really a debate, really. It's the debate more is would they stick with a 6-man or not? They'd put Vasquez down, I would imagine, and they'd have Martin Perez stay up. And that would be the 5. Not counting on Darvish returning, but it could happen. We'll see. The other update that I wanted to get to was Fernando Tatis Jr. There's some uncertainty on when he will return. Kevin Acee put in his Padres Daily newsletter the other day. One of his sources said that September, that return date is likely, which threw some Padres fans off because we've been hearing about August, right? Maybe late August. It felt like him and Musgrove were kind of aligned on when they could come back. I wasn't thinking Musgrove was going to come back here, August, what's that going to be on Monday? August 12th. I wasn't thinking about that. But Tatis, he's hitting in the cage. He's playing catch, doing light running. Could be a September return. He's not going to be 100% when he comes back. So that's kind of like a Manny thing. Bogarts was not 100%, I don't believe. He said he was feeling good, but he wasn't diving. He was mentally having to get through those barriers. So it's not going to be a Tatis at 100%, but Peralta's playing well. But who would you rather have on the team? Would you rather have Bryce Johnson or Fernando? Obviously Fernando, right? You'd obviously rather have him in the lineup. You'd obviously rather have him in right field with the arm that he has. And then have Peralta spell Tatis or spell someone else. Bat off the bench, lefty bat off the bench. That's not a bad option. That's a luxury. This Padres depth, there's been years where it hasn't been looking great, but then there's years where it feels like the depth is in a good spot right now. Even with the Padres trading so much from their farm system, those guys were not guys that were knocking right there at the big league level for the most part. those guys were not on the big league roster like as depth. So it's kind of the best of both worlds right now. They acquired guys that can help the team right now, like impact guys, and they have depth. They have Solano, they have Peralta. Azokar's still down there. Eggy. Totally blanking. Terso Ornelas, he's down there. So they do have some options, just don't have guys, 2025 that we were thinking would come up. But free agency, trades, we know this team looks different every freaking year with AJ. So I'm not, at this rate, he's not going anywhere. So just buckle up if you're not an AJ Preller fan, I guess. So yeah, that's the Tatis update. Another thing, and I'll get to the chat here. Another thing I wanted to talk about, obviously, Padres, Pirates, Paul Skenes, Jackson Merrill. That Rookie of the Year conversation. Who should be the Rookie of the Year? And my solution is actually something that Don talked about on the broadcast in this series finale, and that's why not have a pitcher Rookie of the Year and a position player Rookie of the Year, right? For me, the MVP goes to the best position player, like the most valuable position player, and the Cy Young is the MVP, but for a pitcher. That's what the Cy Young is for. A pitcher could win both, but for me, I would just give the pitcher the Cy Young, and I would not give him the MVP. For the Rookie of the Year, why not do that? Us arguing, debating Jackson Merrill against Paul Skenes is stupid. It doesn't make sense. Jackson Merrill plays every day. He's a hitter. He's in center field. Paul Skenes doesn't do what Jackson Merrill does. It's like comparing Aaron Donald and Patrick Mahomes, right? It's like comparing a center and a point guard. It's like comparing a keeper and a forward, a striker in soccer. It just doesn't make sense. You should have the separate award. I get it. Like usually there's the overall award MVP, but for Rookie of the Year, do you need an overall Rookie of the Year or just have a pitcher Rookie of the Year, have a position player Rookie of the Year? And Skenes would win that and Merrill can win that. I don't think that's that big of a deal. And then have the MVP be for position players and have the Cy Young be for the best pitcher. I think in the NFL, since the Chargers left, I haven't been following. I don't follow it super closely, but I think that they have. I know they have an MVP, but I think they have an offensive player of the year and a defensive player of the year as well. Why can't they kind of do that with the Rookie of the Year? That makes the most sense to me. And they showed the graphic. This was during the game. 288 average for Merrill, 113 hits, first in both of those categories among rookies in Major League Baseball this season, by the way. Third in homers with 15, second in OPS, 785, first in runs driven in, 59 RBI. So first in a lot of categories, top 3 in all of those. Impressive, right? Then you go to Paul Skenes, and he's top 5 in all of these categories. He's got 6 wins, 1.99 ERA, a whip under 1, 202 opponent batting average, 11.2 K per 9. It's great. Both guys have been great for their teams this year. And so picking between one when it's not like it's a shortstop against a center fielder where it's different positions, but they play every day. You could still compare the offensive numbers. You can't compare Merrill and Skenes. When I am just saying I'm sticking up for my guy, Jackson Merrill, hey, he plays every day. Paul Skenes pitches once every 5 days, if that. I'm not trying to take a shot at Skenes. I'm just trying to defend my guy because he's the position player. And I'm like, I want to give him the award because he's playing every day. But it's not me trying to be, taking a shot at the Pirates or Paul Skenes. It's a situation that I shouldn't have to be in. Comparing a position player against a pitcher, one of them who's going to win the award, like that's stupid to me. Just have a offensive rookie, have a pitcher rookie, and that's that. Really. That's the solution. If I have to give a front runner as a Padres fan, I'm going to say Jackson Merrill, and I would bring up because he plays every day, because he comes up clutch, because he plays center field and he had to transition from shortstop to left field to center field, and he's playing it really well, because all he cares about is winning, because where would this Padres team be if Jackson Merrill wasn't playing center field for them. They would not be in the first wild card spot. I will tell you that. I would guarantee you that right now. They would not be there. But where would the Pirates be without Paul Skenes? Would they be 2 games under 500, or would they be 5 or 6 games under and be totally out of the wild card race? So you can make an argument for both guys. And I think Paul Skenes would win it right now because he had more hype going into his big league debut. He's having phenomenal numbers as a pitcher. Like, that stand out more as a pitcher as a rookie than probably Merrill does as a position player. Right? Like, Merrill's not in the MVP conversation, while Paul Skenes is probably in the Cy Young conversation, at least, getting votes for it. So that's probably why they would go with Skenes if I'm trying to be unbiased. But Jackson Merrill has a very strong case. And that's why it's like, let's just solve this. And maybe the debate is a good thing for the game, but how about let's solve it and let's have debates among position players. Let's have Jackson Merrill against someone else. Let's have Paul Skenes against someone else. If there's not a debate, there's not a debate. That's props to that person for not having it be a debate. But debating Skenes against Jackson Merrill is stupid. It's just dumb. So, Don, thank you for bringing that suggestion up. I probably should have thought of that earlier, and maybe there's some others that have thought of that already, but that's what probably should happen. Obviously, I'm a Merrill guy. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a Padre fan, and I don't watch every Paul Skenes start. I watch every Jackson Merrill at bat and every Jackson Merrill game. But yeah, that's just the thoughts I had on that. All right, let's get to the chat. I'm sure that I've missed a lot here. I'm just going to scroll through here. Justin says, he was at the whole series. So fun to watch them sweep in person. I'm sure that was a roller coaster watching that in person. And then the rain delay. I already gave my thoughts on the rain delay first game. The Pirates, if Paul Skenes was on the mound, I think it's a valid question to ask. Would they have put the game on and then stopped it? Or would they have not started the game knowing that, hey, maybe we're wasting a Paul Skenes outing here? What would have happened there? It happened in Washington, happened here in Pittsburgh. Like, you see something's coming. Why are we starting this game? And then there was the whole drainage stuff. It was just a S show there at PNC Park in this first game. C-Dub says, great series for us. Let's sweep the Marlins now. That would be great. Undefeated road trip. Where would the Padres be in the division if they sweep the Pirates? They wouldn't be worse than where they're at right now. Or if they sweep the Marlins, because the Dodgers are playing the Pirates, I think, coming up. We'll see. Irie says we won that Soto trade. We'll see. I think the Padres have the advantage for sure right now, but a big indicator is going to be what happens with the Yankees come postseason time, because the Padres have these guys under control, most of them, past this season. I think Higgy's a free agent after this season. They have most of these guys under control past this year. With Soto for the Yankees, it was this year. That's why they acquired him. And I think they knew going in they're not going to extend him. They're going to have to bring him back, and they're going to have to pay him a lot of money for him to come back. So, yes, I would lean Padres, but I would not say definitely right now. We'll see. G-Money88 says, what's up, Ben? This is our year. Put some respect on A.J. Preller's name. He's definitely fighting for Peter and is doing a damn fine job. I'm thankful that we have a GM who cares. Oh, for sure. Preller cares. I've never questioned that Preller cares. I know he cares. The guy's up falling asleep before the deadline, talking to a scout on the phone on the couch after acquiring Juan Soto. The guy doesn't stop. If there's something that I'm going to praise him for, it's his work ethic and how much he cares. It's inspiring how much he cares and how hard he works, I think most people that watch the show think that I'm an A.J. Preller fan. I think some people would say I'm too much of an A.J. Preller fan. I've praised him. I put out a tweet recently about all of the signings, all of the additions that have been put by him on this big league roster since significantly having to decrease payroll, trading Juan Soto, and missing the postseason, and all of the moves that he has made. And that got a lot of traction on social media. Like, I'm pumping up AJ Preller. I feel like I'm consistently saying props to AJ Preller. whenever someone does something, Higgy, Peralta, Solano, Merrill, whoever, props to AJ. He thought of that. He made that addition. He and his staff, great job from them. So maybe you're just saying that in general, like Padres fans do it, but I'm definitely doing it. I'm putting respect on his name for sure. I feel like I'm doing it almost more than anyone else. Anyone, at least I don't listen to every show. I don't have time to listen to every show, but I feel like I'm giving him his props. Let's see here. Continuing to go through the chat. Oh, by the way, I want to go through the scores because it's 9:30, so games are probably final. So Giants won today 9-5 over the Nats. The Braves lost today. Mets won 9-1. I'm just going through like the wild card stuff. Phillies beat the D-backs 6-4, so that's good. D-backs lost. So things are going our way. Dodgers didn't play tonight, so that's why the Padres gained that half game on them. Iron Swan says Papa Pete is definitely giving us good juju from above. Bambino curse is hitting Ohtani and the Dodgers. I don't really know what that means, the Bambino curse. Like the Dodgers aren't going to win a World Series for decades. I don't know what that means, but okay. I see people in the chat. I'm going to super chat a few bucks for a 9-volt battery, Jaybird602 says. I don't know what that's in reference to. Is that like the camera? Is the camera not good, or is it the sound? Are you guys not hearing me well? SDFan44 asks, are the Snakes for real? Seems like it. They're getting guys back. They just got Eduardo Rodriguez back, I think. Christian Walker, I think, is still hurt, but they acquired Josh Bell. Like they're trying to win. So I would say they're for real, but I'd put the Padres up against the D-backs. I'm super confident in this Padres team. David says, I don't know what it is, but this show is different. Everyone is joining the show, and I love it. Must be fun for you, Ben. Yeah, this is the most. Shout out to everyone who joined tonight. I think this is the most people that have joined the show in one show. How many was it? Like 5 people, 4 or 5 people? So thank you for everyone that joined. I appreciate that. It created conversation. You know, I feel like a lot, and I love talking about the Padres, and I'll do it for 2 hours, an hour and a half, whatever, by myself. But I feel like when people join, other Padres fans, they have other points of view. They can ask questions to me, and just, you know, we can go back and forth. I feel like that could be better for the audience instead of just me. So hopefully people enjoy that. Jason with the super chat, thank you, man, says Merrill only became an all-star center fielder a second ago with a great bat impacting the playoff race as a rookie. Enough said. For like the rookie of the year race, I think is what you're talking about, Jason. Like why he should have the advantage over Paul Skenes. Yeah, that's a good point that you make. Chad says, I wonder how Skip feels about having to manage a minor league team. Yeah, the Marlins. Holy cow. Should we go through their roster? Don and Mud were kind of roasting their roster today on the broadcast. Like, they did not know pretty much anyone on this Marlins team. Let's see. Marlins roster. I know they have Jake Berger. I know they have Edward Cabrera. Let's see. Anthony Bender. I'm just trying to throw out some names that maybe some people would know. Max Meyer. Xavier Edwards. Padres traded him to the Rays. He hit for the cycle recently. David Hensley went to San Diego State. He's on the roster. I actually used to play baseball with David's younger brother. David's dad was one of my coaches. That's crazy. Christian Pache is on their team. But then there's guys like, let's see if any of you have heard of these names. Valente Bellozo, Declan Cronin, Calvin Foucher, Jesus Tinoco, Ali Sanchez, Johnny Pareda, Vidal Brujan, Otto Lopez, Derek Hill. Sounds like a MLB The Show random generator name. Kyle Stowers. So, yeah, that's what Skip has. So, yeah, that sucks. I was advocating for Skip to be the Padres manager if they didn't go with Mike Schilt. But I'm happy they went with Schilt. I would have been happy if they went with Skip. I saw Skip being linked to the White Sox because Skip's not going to be with the Marlins past this year. Let's be honest. Skip needs to go to a contender. He deserves to be on a contending team and managing a team that's trying to win, not be on the Chicago White Sox and have to deal with that. Because that place is a S show right now on the field. Probably good people in there, but man, 21 straight losses. And then they fire Pedro Grifol after they actually win a game. Interesting. They were coming back home, so they didn't want to fire him when he was on the road, probably. But man, the White Sox, where are they going? Michelle says Bogarts came back better than ever. Crazy. I'm not super surprised by this, to be honest. I wasn't expecting him to be this good in terms of like batting for average, but when he comes back from injury, he's usually really good. There is a reason why one team gave him $280 million. It's not just because he was a free agent that year, partly because they wanted to get one of the stars, but because he has a track record. And he was really good with the Red Sox. He was one of the best shortstops in baseball. So he still has the talent. Going through the chat still. Oh, I agree, David. I want to see Tatis in the playoffs as well. That was electric in 2020. Obviously, one of those what ifs that we'll never know the answer to. What if Tatis was there for 2022? How would that have changed things? Chad says Merrill is different. He is the gold standard. Go look at clips that Tatis hyping up the team in the dugout after a big hit the past couple homestands. Yeah, I mean, him and Tatis, by the way, that was like since spring training. They were together. Tatis was one of, Merrill's like mentors, helping him transition to the outfield because obviously Tatis did that going from short to the outfield. So, yeah, they've been linked together. And Merrill was down when Tatis got hurt. Like, he was sad about it, knowing how long Tatis was going to be out for, or assuming how long he was going to be out for. Brad says, man, these Padres have been doing pretty damn good lately. Yes, they have. Schilt season, baby. Schilt season. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, that's Kevin Acee dubbed it Schilt season in one of his articles, so that's why I say Schilt season. They're 14-3 in Schilt season, which is after the All-Star break. Historically, his teams with the Cardinals did a lot better after the All-Star break, and they were kind of just hanging in there with before. So it's continuing to happen here with the Padres. And obviously there was that big winning streak that they went on in, I think, Schultz last year with the Cardinals, right? Big winning streak at the end of the year that put them into the postseason. We'll see how long a winning streak can go for the Padres. We'll see what their season high is going to end up being. But I feel like with Schilt, like there's a message at the beginning of the year. You keep grinding. You keep doing the right things. You're a team. You don't stop fighting. When you're down, who cares? You're ahead, who cares? You keep having those good at-bats. And there are teams that might do that for a limited period of time, but they don't do that the whole year. but Schilt can help get these guys to do it the entire year. And that's where like you get the advantage. It's like, I mean, I've been obsessed watching track and field with the Olympics, and the 1500 meters. You see some of those guys. I mean, we saw it with the American that came back and won. You see some guys get off to a great start, but they can't. They just lose it. Down the stretch, they can't go anymore. They're trying to go, but they just can't. They're done. But then you have someone like Cole Hawker come on, who won the 1500, and he's giving it all. Quincy Hall the other day in, what was that, the 400, I think? I think it was the 400. Whatever it was. He comes back using his arms, using his legs, everything. He stayed in it, and he was consistent. That's what the Padres are. They're consistent. They can stay in it. And so, like, I'm having a really good feeling about this Padres team and where they're at. They're going to the postseason this season. It's been a long show tonight. Sorry. Long day. They're going to the postseason. I would be surprised if they don't. Not saying that, it's over. Let's stop watching. But they have what you need to make it to the postseason and go on a deep run. It feels like they're all in. It doesn't seem like there's a bunch of me guys on the team. And even when there were last year, they didn't totally buy into like the clubhouse and team, right? The team. It feels like that has changed this year. So I'm feeling good. Padres 64-52 going into that Miami Marlins series. Hoping for a sweep, but series win, I'll take that too. Thank you, everybody, for the time. Episode 623, Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden with you here. Thank you, everyone, for watching live on YouTube or watching on replay or listening on the podcast platforms. Thank you for everyone in the chat. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for those that came on to join the show. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to y'all later. Go Padres.